let's dive into some announcements. For you tuning in, Emily Harrison is about to come on and just blow the roof off the place. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely. Before that, let's talk to you because you're becoming your greatest possible self. However I can support you with doing that, let's talk. Whether it's just staying tuned to these 12-hour marathons or the podcast, Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, it's having a conversation, seeing how we can grow together. If you want more clarity, break through your BS. If you want to just execute on your greatest possible self, let's talk. And for those of you who are ready to become a guest on the 12-hour marathon, want to get your message out to more people, let's talk about that too. I love making the planet a better place, and I can't do it alone. It really does take a village. It takes the entire world unifying our consciousness, our love, and our focus to be able to make this planet better than when we found it. Now, the other thing I want to share is the iTunes review of the week. And this week, let's see who it is by. It's by Helped Me Shed My Layers. I don't know who that is, but hey, I'm proud that it helped you shed your layers. Chris is an inspiring breath of fresh air. This podcast will enlighten and encourage even the thickest skinned of us to shed the toughest exterior and dive deeply inward. I love this review. It's like so freaking powerful. It's good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Couldn't do it without my guest like Emily, who's about to come on and rock it. So make sure you stay tuned because we're going to dive into that. If you want to give us a review, well, first off, hey, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe on iTunes. And then after you've done that, then you can leave us a review. Let us know what you love, what you want to see more of, how we can make the show even better for the future. Thanks so much in advance for doing that. Now, I'm going to introduce Emily in just a second here. Before that, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen. Just being in this presence of her energy and her frequency and her just power, you are going to shift. You are going to upgrade. You're going to evolve. You're going to hear things. It's going to activate your DNA because that's who she is. And you might want to write down a lot of the gold that she shares so that you can take even more action on it. And who knows what kind of opportunities you can continue to grow with Emily, with all the things that she's got going on. She'll tell you about those. So stick around till the end because one of these opportunities, one of these ideas has the power to change your life forever. Let's introduce Emily, and then we'll bring her on. After becoming a certified Akashic Records practitioner in 2015, Emily's life shifted dramatically. Leaving behind a career in Hollywood, Emily created a healing business that includes teaching, speaking, and contributing to the Huffington Post and mentoring high-level visionaries to access guidance and creativity from the Akashic Records. Emily is the founder and director of the Akashic Academy, a modern-day mystery school dedicated to sharing knowledge that is changing the planet. She has amazing human beings on there, does awesome interviews, and she is a freaking powerhouse. Emily, are you ready to rock the house, Superwoman?
I'm so ready to come on.
We are live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Let's do this, girl. Let's do this.
I'm so excited to see you again, my friend. You
oh my God.
have such an energy that it's like we just feel good when we're around you. That's part of your goal, part of your medicine. So thank you for letting me hang out with you.
Thank you. It took a while for me to say, oh, I'm a healer, like my energy is healing. My words are healing, and this is like healing the planet. I was like, holy crap, that's right.
I think a lot of people experience that, and even more are experiencing it right now with the energies that are waking us up. We got work to do on our own lives. So in a sense, we all need to figure out what it means to be a healer and get busy on what it is that we need to do with our own life. So I'm really excited to share the tools that have been such a huge transformational assistance for me in doing that. I know we've all stumbled onto these beautiful, I love that you call it gold. I love calling it medicine too. These ideas of how we can share our knowledge and what's worked for us, because there are so many energies at play out in the universe. Of the electromagnetic spectrum of energy, we can see and experience with our physical senses 0.003% of it. So the mass majority of what's going on around us requires us to wake up in more dynamic ways. So I'm excited to rock that with you today, friend.
So and we'll get into that, but we can tap into the beyond the 0.003 by developing ourselves, by developing those gifts and those like internal instruments, so to speak, the things that we've been equipped with from the beginning, and just remembering how to do that. So I want to talk about the topic of today, which is the power of words. And just to start off the conversation, what is your perspective, or what does that mean to you, the power of words, Emily?
Words go back to sound, and sound is primordial energy to create.
Wow.
So words for me have become that understanding of, hey, this is the tool that you manifest with. I definitely feel like we're rocking a mental plane here. Like your thoughts that are coming up, every single bit of those have manifesting power, but put your words behind it, sound behind it, and we begin to really start working very dynamically. So when we recognize how our words are our wand, they're the spell that we're using to create what it is we wish to experience, I think we got to tune our awareness to the power of words and start getting excited about what we can do with them.
Yes, Emily, I love it. I love it. So I mentioned a little bit about who you are in your intro, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and the Akashic Academy and how you are serving people and sharing your light in the world today.
Well, being the founder and director of the Akashic Academy, and my area of specific expertise is in the Akashic Records, so I mentor other light workers in that realm, is not my first career. And I'm wondering how many people out there can identify, how many of you guys are not on at least your first career? Maybe you're on your second, your third, I don't know. I spent 20 years in Hollywood before I shifted to do this. So I've got a really fun story. I'm glad that you're asking, and I can share a little bit of that history with your audience. But before I did really big, crazy, fun things like running an academy and dancing in Hollywood, I'm a small town girl from the Midwest. I grew up in a town of 3,000 people. The nearest town's 11 miles away. So I haven't always been like huge on the scene. I grew up in this really small space, this really small sheltered space. And in growing up in the Midwest, I was very influenced by religion. We were all up in the Southern Baptist Church, Sunday morning, Sunday night. I was a Sunday school teacher. I was a Bible school teacher. I went to youth camp, and I was also. And if there is anybody from my past watching this, Chris, they'll be like, "Tell the truth, Emily," because I will. I was also sneaking out of my house. I was the Gemini that I am. I fully embodied it in those moments. I definitely loved the essence of being in spirit, and I definitely was a rebel as well. And I needed to live by my own rules.
That's right.
And as I continued to grow up and figure out who Emily was, she definitely continued to be this outside of the box character. Once I graduated from high school, I enrolled in college at Mizzou and hated every minute of it. It felt like the next thing that I should do, especially if you're smart.
Right.
Especially if you're smart, right? Right. I mean, there are some people who struggle and they're like, "Oh, my goal is to get into college," and then there are some people who your intelligence comes easy and you're just kind of rolling through life. That was me. I was just expected to continue on this path. It wasn't something that I had set a high goal for myself, and I did not like it one bit. My soul needed to be free. I remember the moment when I was driving home, and maybe a lot of you have had aha moments when you're driving before. There's something about that, and we're going to talk more about brainwaves today. You shift in your brainwaves there, and you can tune into some more inspired ideas, and all of a sudden this inspired idea hit me where I received it was illuminated in my cells more dynamically than ever before that this is my life. I can do whatever I want to with it. And how simple does that seem? It's so simple, right? We've been told that our whole life, but all of a sudden in that moment, it made sense. The empowerment that was needed to make that shift came along with the knowing in that moment. And almost instantly, I was quitting college, packing up my car, hightailing to Hollywood, where I decided I was an actress. And truthfully, I hadn't even done a whole lot of acting growing up in my life. I was not like in all the school play. I mean, I dabbled a little bit here and there.
Right.
But truthfully, I was a little afraid to show myself in that way. But all of a sudden, in this moment, when this download came in, I was ready to go on this exploration. And I began to realize, being immersed in Hollywood, not only was I having the time of my life pursuing this big dream and having success doing it, but I was really feeding my authentic self, and I was testing out what I could do and what the Emily without the boundaries and the constraints of that small town could go out and absorb about life. And I was really excited to come back in touch with spirituality, but in a different way. And metaphysics, law of attraction, qigong, tai chi, this all became really, really present in my life. And it began to really help me manipulate my own world, made my world malleable and a hell of a lot easier to get acting jobs, I got to say. I remember Wayne Dyer taught me, not personally, but through a CD recording that my mama sent me, a powerful meditation that allowed you to start manifesting. And I'm knocking down acting jobs one after another. I was sold after that point. Damn. So I continued to use the skills that I was building in terms of making my universe malleable and working with the law of attraction to further my acting career. But there's definitely something deeply missing inside. And while I'm a storyteller, and that is definitely an aspect of who I am, we all have those areas where we're carrying our hurts, our trauma, our karma on our blueprint. And one of my big ones was rejection. Well, hell, Hollywood's a perfect place to work that out. Right? I take this little pill of rejection every day, see how you do. Right. So there was a lot that was like really personal to me, and I'll share just really personally and vulnerably. This rejection came from an ancestral pattern that I was able to identify, and I'm going to share it with the intention that maybe you can relate when you begin to understand more about your ancestry. My grandmother had lost her mother due to complications from an abortion, and so she grew up without a mother, and she held that energy of that rejection. And that was something that gets passed on in our DNA. And so I recognized that this was part of what I was working out here in this space. And that's big stuff, right? We need support to do that. So when I would go into meditation, I would call in my guides. I found that answers would illuminate themselves, and I was able to shift a lot of the density that I was holding just being a person in the world. Yeah. And it was really opening up this powerful clarity for me. And it was making my manifesting better, but something else started to happen. As I listened more and more to all of the podcasts, I was a huge self-learner. Yeah. I was not only seeing and experiencing the shift in myself, but I was hearing in the back of my head that wonderful voice that comes talking to us. You can do this too. You can do this too. And I remember when I got to the point where I had saturated myself with so much, it was bubbling out. Yeah. And I didn't have any choice really, but to start practicing on other people. And I started practicing secretly at first, meaning I would drop my kids off at school. And if I knew that there were other parents who were going through health problems or issues, I would just kind of ask their higher self if it was okay. And I would just move a little energy here and there as I was walking behind them, kind of like Tom Cruise in Minority Report. I just moved it.
Wow.
Intuitively, I was just playing with the energy.
Yeah.
But the more I began to do that, the more my skills began to come into my awareness, what I had actually built over my years of meditation. And there was a neighbor who I only knew because he walked in the neighborhood every day with his dog, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. He didn't anymore. And then here he comes limping down the street. Daniel, what happened to you? I shattered my ankle. It's not healing well. Before I even realized that this comes out of my mouth, would you like to do some energy healing over on my porch? And I'm like, get back in my mouth. I can't remember if I said that. And he was like, sure. And then okay. We're sitting on and on my porch, and I've got a little Zen garden set up, and I've got its ankle propped up, and I'm waving my tuning fork around, and I've got binaural beats hooked up to earphones on him. He's just kind of like, zoning out and his thing. I'm thinking, please don't let my husband pull up right now. I have so much explaining to do about why this strange man is sitting on the porch. And as I was just, no, just stay present. And I was just waving my hands, doing the energy. And all of a sudden, Daniel's father, who had passed, who was in spirit, came into my awareness. And I began to have a telepathic conversation with his father, who had passed, who revealed really incredible information that I was able to validate with Daniel later that turned out to be very, very healing for him. And once you have an experience like that that's in your face, it's hard to deny the call anymore at that point, Chris. I couldn't deny the call anymore. So I dove in. I looked for a certification. The Akashic Records I had familiar with because they're the realm of consciousness where all information exists. So it just seemed like a go-to source for pretty much anything you wanted to figure out ever in your life. That made sense to me. So I'm like, that one's me. I signed up. I went through the certification process and just life, heart, soul, mind, all broken open, shifted and changed so quickly. I wanted to show up and start doing readings for others with the skills that I had built right away. But Spirit laid on my mind and heart, no, it's more powerful to teach others how to do this. Every person has the ability to do this. I had experienced myself. I did not grow up in that small town in Missouri feeling like I was awake and psychic and seeing the dead relatives coming in. That was not my experience. I had to reawaken those skills in myself.
Yeah.
But I recognize that this is something that truly everyone can do. And when we learn to tap in, not only are your loved ones available and accessible to you there in that space, but so are your masters, ascended masters, teachers, guides. This is the instant feedback that we can begin getting, that everybody has the ability to connect with. And it was so on my mind and heart because I see people's potential. I see the potential of where can we go when we are all standing in our highest creativity and love and compassion and uplifting for each other, encouraging each other. And for me, this is the gateway for people to learn how to create that. Regardless of what your energy healing modality is, this continues to expand. It opens up and allows you to do dynamic research in the way Nikolai Tesla, Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein did. They were all users of the space. And as I began to recognize that what was coming through, this idea of teaching people how to access the records, it was a movement bigger than me, Chris. It's not just about the Akashic Records. It's about establishing these cities of light where the rise of light workers can move through the planet. It's about collaboration. It's about lots of different kinds of education, which is why one of the things that we've created at the Academy is the network. And those of you who are learning about me for the first time, this is a network designed to find the light workers of the planet, build and uplift you, and create platforms for you to step out and share your message.
And one thing I want to say about you, Emily, is like you're super generous with the Akashic Academy and like all these amazing shows that you have allowed people to create and create a platform, you know, like I totally vibe with that. Like what we've created here is like, hey, let's get people's message out. And what you're doing is also doing that same thing. So for anyone who's resonating with a 12-hour marathon and becoming your greatest possible self, definitely get to the Akashic Academy, search it on Facebook, you'll find it. And you can also go to the AkashicAcademy.com and check out more. We'll be telling you more about that. But I just love what you're doing as far as the energy, the approach. And also you mentioned like we get to just tap in and remember what we've already had all along, right? So I want everyone who's watching this right now, whether live or replay, type in tap in, TAPIN, in the comments if you're committed to tapping in more, if you're committed to awakening your power, awakening your awareness. And like Emily said, you weren't even aware of this growing up, right? Growing up in that small town, like you didn't even know you had these powers. And through development, through self-study, through, you know, programs, coaches, like hiring people. And that's why you're here training and giving this information to people and sharing it with them. Like you're making such a big difference and creating these cities of light workers. I freaking love it. It's beautiful.
I love it too. I love that you talked about investing in the teacher too.
Yeah.
Because I was a self-learner for a very long time. And I highly praise each one of you guys who dive in and become a sponge and absorb this way. Yes. I will also tell you, when you dive in with a mentor that you resonate with and you commit yourself to a particular initiation into a lineage, it expands very, very dynamically. And I go back and forth between both of those styles, to be honest with you. I dive in, I'll learn a lot by myself, and then I'm like, all right, time to find the mentor who can take me over the edge now. Right. And I love working with mentors and coaches. I love getting my hand held over that threshold. Right. Because when you know and you feel you're right there and you're ready to dive in and invest in yourself, your change happens very, very quickly.
So juicy. So I want to talk about being able to hear these signs that the universe is sending us. What do we need to know about that, Emily?
Well, I love that you tuned in particularly and said here. That actually gives me a little insight into how you work. because we'll tend to reveal what our strengths are.
Yeah, our
So
patterns.
you talked about hearing. So let's talk about our clair-senses for a moment. These are our psychic gifts and abilities. They're the inner senses that match our outer senses.
Okay.
So clairaudience is clear inner hearing. That's the one that we know Chris is very good at because he revealed it about us. But truthfully, once we bring our awareness to how they work, you'll probably find one that you're good at, and you'll also find that as your awareness becomes more acute about each one of them, that they all begin to play together in a symphony.
Wow.
So inner hearing, this happens in a variety of ways. Okay, you can actually hear audibly. It's not a sound being generated in the physical realm that you hear audibly. Sometimes the voice of God. Sometimes you'll hear your name called. This has only happened to me maybe twice in my life. Has it ever happened to you before?
No, I don't think
Like
so.
you're waking from a dream and you hear Chris.
No?
Maybe you will now. Maybe you will now.
I'm developing my powers.
So that's one aspect, and that's more of a subtle way. You're not going to find that a whole lot on the planet right now. But if you've had that experience, totally identify yourself. Another way our clairaudience works is maybe you'll all of a sudden hear a song pop into your head, and then the message and lyrics of that song are particularly meaningful for bringing you love or comfort or a shift or a bigger perspective of something that you're thinking about in that moment simultaneously. Many times also you'll be singing a song, you turn the radio on and it's there.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good sign that your energies are starting to sharpen and develop, and that you're actually hearing beyond the frequency of what the normal ears are hearing. So you're developing. This is very, very good stuff. That is one way that we begin to get instant feedback. We're clairvoyant as well. This has to do with our vision. Mm-hmm. Okay, so our inner vision, something can flash through your mind, or you might see just a color. Some people see auras. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is all example of spirit communicating with you via your clairvoyance, your clear inner vision. Mm-hmm. We also have clairsentience, clear feeling inside of our body. Sometimes you might feel like a physical sensation move through the body, or you might feel a density or a pain in the body. You can feel heat or cool, temperature changes in the body. Mm-hmm. These are all the body giving you these signals, this instant feedback. So we have to begin to learn to speak these languages, right? There's also claircognizance, which is clair knowing. That one's a little je ne sais quoi to try to describe, because it's just there's just something about you that knows. It's like you just know. Hmm. And that's really the only way that you can describe it. So these are the ways that spirit is communicating with us instantaneously. However, we are missing the heck out of it, Chris. Should we talk about why we're missing the heck out of it?
Let's talk about it.
I had a beautiful opportunity to start this conversation this weekend and talk about a different aspect of how the physical body can assist you in instant gratification. That's a Freudian slip. In instant feedback. All right, instant feedback, people. Okay, this is G Radio Show. How the physical body can assist you in that instant feedback, and what the issues are with the physical body. Mm-hmm. So if anybody is resonating with this and you want the prequel, let me know, and I will put you in touch with how this conversation started. Beautiful. Because we're going to move on today, and we're going to talk more about how the mind is showing up and working in this. How the mind is preventing us from getting this instant feedback. Mm-hmm. Okay, we are taking on data constantly, right and left.
A lot.
The average human brain is working like this. Okay, on a day-to-day basis, you're having somewhere between 12 and 60,000 thoughts per day. Now, I have to admit, I am an overachiever, Chris. When I heard this statistic, I'm like, ooh, I want to be on the top. I want to have 15,000 thoughts per day. Oh, wrong. This is not you actually, the very high functioning of our society, the very highly intelligent, highly developed, they keep those thoughts very low. They're more on the 6,000 range. Because let me tell you the rest of these statistics. Of those 6,000 to 12,000 thoughts that you're having, over 90% of these thoughts are negative. Mm. Okay? 80% of the thoughts are the same thoughts you thought yesterday. So they're just playing in a loop.
Mm-hmm.
And 95 to 99% of them are subconscious, so you don't even realize that you're thinking them. And with all of this data going on, and your brain sending these signals to different parts of your body and to your emotions, and you begin in this crazy dance of all of this data, there's no way in hell you're going to interpret those instant signals that we talked about coming in, because there's just too much else going on. These move by in an incredible flash. Now, when we slow down all the other data that we're taking on, these messages from spirit, they actually slow down. And they have a different vibrational quality than your regular thoughts. I want to just invite everybody for a second, just take a nice deep breath in, bring your awareness inward, and allow yourself to remember a divinely inspired idea, whichever one you want to work with right now. Just let that come up in your mind, in your heart. Bring it alive in your energy field. And I want you to begin to allow yourself to observe with not only your eyes, your ears, your physical body, all of the above. Begin to observe the vibrational signature, the unique vibrational signature of this divinely inspired idea. These feel way different than those other thoughts running through our mind. So one thing that we need to do is familiarize ourselves with what they are when they show up. So just tune your awareness right now and just identify and hold that in your awareness. Let your body begin to become familiar with this. So when it comes up again, you can identify it. You're going to be able to trust it more too. Good. Just hold that in the awareness for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. So we've already received an attunement in our energy field that's going to allow us to identify when spirits come in and talking to us. But we've got to show up and do our part too. All of that crazy stuff going on in the mind that's causing us to take on all of the data, we got to slow that down.
So the first step is like getting present to what it feels like, what the sensations, all of the experience of some kind of divine idea or signal or connection. And everyone has them, right? Everyone has them. It's just about what we're paying attention to and what is our relationship to them. It's like some people might say, oh, I have no connection with the divine. I have no connection with my clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, anything, right? That used to be me. That used to be the person I'm like, I'm just like a disconnected, walking, talking, matter being, right? Matter human, not the spiritual aspect. So it's been a journey of me, just like you, to remember these powers, and remember these gifts. So I super appreciate this because it's really like the basics, mastering the basics, working out the muscles of getting connected, getting into alignment with that frequency and that energy.
Absolutely, 100%. So let me ask you then, since you are budding light worker coming out here onto our planet, what have been the most effective ways for you to slow down and be able to tune your awareness higher? Like how do you slow down all of the data, the impulses coming in?
Yeah, my best way is to go to nature, right? And when I'm around nature, when I'm around running water, when I listen to the wind, and also even the silence beyond the sound, right? Like there's silence in all that sound. So how do I pay attention to the unseen, unheard, the thing behind the thing, so to speak? That's like, okay, now I'm going deep.
Well, you want to know what I know about that sound? That's the ringing in the ears. That it has to be really quiet for you to tune in, but it's present everywhere.
Yes.
This is known throughout religion, many different, depending on which ones you study, as the Song of the Spheres, the voice of God. The Bible says the voice of God is with you always. Physicists have traced this sound back to echoes of the Big Bang. Remember how we talked about how powerful sound is in the beginning? I believe that all of the information in the universe is located in that sound frequency, that sound of silence, that sound beneath everything. Another beautiful way to describe the Akashic Records.
So incredible. So you said that like, because when I think of Akashic Records, I think of somewhere up in the atmosphere or something like that, right? It's like same thing with like God in heaven. It's like, oh, it's up above. I'm on earth, and then hell is like below. It's like, but really, it's all around us, right? The Akashic
really
Records.
Is all around us, though. I understand the connection that we make as we rank like that. However, because up in the sky, higher vibrational frequency. Look at higher levels of consciousness. We have to raise our vibrational frequency. Yeah. But yeah, it truly is all around us and inside of us too. It's part of inside of us too. So you have to come up with these ways that you can begin to expand your consciousness and awareness. You talked about some really practical ways that are, all of that's meditation. Yeah. Walking in nature is meditating. Listening to the wind is meditating. Listening to that sound of silence can be a powerful, just 15 to 20-second meditation that you can begin to incorporate at night before you go to bed, because that's when it's nice and quiet. Just tune your awareness and hold that frequency in your consciousness, all of your awareness on it. 15 seconds is good enough. It's kind of hard to hold your awareness for that long. Yeah. As easy as that sounds, try it. That's a really powerful way that you can begin to invite these energies, invite this presence to begin revealing itself to you. But truly, I also feel like we have to have a high level of holding ourselves to this high bar of monitoring those thoughts that are happening on day-to-day, moment, just constant basis. Yeah. So you have to have some kind of a meditational practice that will slow this down for you. But then you got to be accountable. When you recognize that you are going through a loop of thoughts that are stressful or bringing anxiety into your body, that has to be stopped immediately. Now, here's another cool thing. Have you ever thought about instant manifestation as your ability to simply shift your energy frequency in that moment? Wow. Most of us think about that like we want to manifest a pocket full of cash yesterday, and wondering why we can't figure out this instant manifestation thing. This is where you get good at it. Wow. That's instant manifestation, because you're instantly shifting yourself up on that rung, getting closer to that God, that higher consciousness, right? As you are in that moment, shifting your timeline. You know what I love about this is a lot of people would probably, in my opinion, I would minimize the impact that shifting my energy is. It's like, oh, it's just changing my emotions. I've learned about state change. I've learned about, breathing and all this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I know it's like the basics, mastering the basics, but to acknowledge it as the same energy, the same power as instant manifestation of a Ferrari or cash or whatever. It's like the same frequency. It's like, holy crap. It's a template. Wow. And this is how we can get really good at masterfully weaving what we want to experience. Yeah. All you need to make a big shift in your life is you have to create a template where you can work with that energy in real life. And when you notice the places where you are out of alignment, shift yourself right there in that moment. And if you were in a place where you were misaligned with your wealth, you were in a place of lack, and you were struggling and getting frustrated about that bill that you have to pay, you have the moment. If you just are willing to release and trust the universe, you don't have to know how it's going to happen, but you instantly shifted your money manifesting frequency right there in that moment. And it's those little moments added up over time that creates the big vibrational manifestation, bigger ones, so to speak. Yeah, really, all we have to do is establish the energy here, establish the spark in some way on the planet, and then you can take that spark and turn it into whatever fire you want. But I don't know how many of you guys have seen Survivor, ever seen him trying to make fire before. It can be hard to make fire, even if you know how, right? Yeah. But find these little places, get that little spark, get it going. Such a great analogy. Yeah, you know what? I realized we didn't talk about why this is so important. And I am a huge fan of Simon Sinek, and I'm like, I gotta tell everybody why.
Why?
Don't you want to know why you need to be able to get instant clarity, instant feedback from the universe?
Why, Emily? Why? Why?
Why? Tell me why.
Tell me why.
Right now, Chris, and all summer long, the cosmos are presenting powerful opportunities to self-authenticate and step into your highest potential like never before. Eclipse season happens this time every year. And eclipse season is a time when the ancients, our ancestors especially, acknowledge the opportunity for big, powerful shifts, fated understanding and awarenesses of who we are and how we step into our power. Each particular cosmic cycle that we go through, whether it's a new moon or a full moon or a bigger time like this eclipse season, has its own particular cosmic signature to it. And the cosmic signature, the imprint that we're experiencing right now, is all about this authentic self. Who are you? At the most authentic light of who you are, and we're all being invited to know that. Now, I know you love working with people who want to do big things in the world.
Yep.
As we move through this shift, our businesses are actually vehicles for our spiritual growth and our self-authenticity to emerge. And there are huge opportunities to take quantum advancement right now. But you must be aware and in tune with where you need to turn right, turn left, stay put, back off, move forward, align with this person. And you need to be able to trust that level of the way you naturally work. You're designed to work this way. And it's such an important time to be able to do that, to invest in growing your skills in doing this. Because you have an opportunity right now to make this very, very powerful quantum advancement as we're heading into 2020. I know that there are powerful messages that we're all growing into, stepping into, emerging, and feeling the need to share. And there's an audience that has a need to hear this.
100%.
So I invite you to follow that call. There are platforms. You have friends in high places like me and Chris who have walked this path that want to help support you. It is so much easier now, especially for people who want to start businesses, Chris. 10 years ago, it would take you tens of thousands of dollars to get a real business up and going, to get marketing up and going. You want to know how much I started the Akashic Academy for? $0. $0.
What a time.
We did not spend any money that we did not have at the Akashic Academy. We waited until the money grew itself, and then we could invest in having our website built.
Yeah. It's like be resourceful.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about the time right now is like this beautiful opportunity to tune in to ourselves, and especially like all the things that are lining up, the planets, the stars, the energy of the planet and people and information that's being shared, technology, right? Technology, Facebook, sending out videos and inspiring, uplifting, empowering, awakening messages. Like what a freaking time to align with that, to receive that, to own that, to listen to the guidance, because like you said, those quantum shifts and leaps and changes are available. Are we paying attention? Are we tuned in? Are we doing the practices? Are we doing the disciplines? Are we accountable to what we already know that life has probably already reminded us a bunch of times about, and each time the reminder gets more and more intense? Are we leveraging those things? And also it's like an investment, because it's comfortable. It's comfortable to stay in kind of like the what's easy and what has been the status quo of, let's say people are doing some low vibe activities. Maybe they're hanging around low vibe people.
Who's doing low vibe activities out there?
It's like, hey, we got high and low. We got high and low. It's like, it's the human experience, So, but I love accountability, because oftentimes that's not brought up in a spiritual context for whatever reason, But it's like, you're accountable to this purpose and to this gift and these gifts that you've been given, and to share this light with the world, because people are suffering out there.
I want to be accountable. I may or may not have done a low vibe activity last week.
You're on Santa's naughty list.
Oh, I've been there for a bit. I believe that you're right. Having the space to be able to talk about our vulnerabilities and having this community, it's really, really important too. Because truthfully, we're all still engaging in low vibe activities.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of how judgmental you want to get about where it falls in the morality chain of how bad you are, truthfully, if you're speaking to yourself in a way that is not loving, you're engaging in low vibe activities still.
Yep.
And having a community to be able to hold each other accountable and to be able to speak our truth, speak your vulnerability, speak what you're bad at.
Yeah.
Okay? Just go ahead and get it out.
Yep.
You know what? You don't have to worry about that anymore. Focus on what you're good at, because when you come together in a community like the communities that we're building, everybody's good at something. You be good at what you're good at, shine at what you're good at. There's going to be stuff that all of us aren't so good at. We'll pick up the slack for each other.
Yeah, 100%. So tell me more about the Akashic Academy and like what the vision is with that. What do you have to create? And I know you mentioned these cities and platforms for light workers. Tell us more.
What we've created online so far in the past couple years is really what you're going to see being recreated in the physical planet over the next coming years. So we have a beautiful membership program where light workers can tune in to weekly exclusive workshops and trainings specifically designed to keep you body, mind, spirit aligned, to keep information fresh too. Everything that I share in the academy, I'm encouraging the different light workers who are coming in, because I know they're leaders of their own tribes. If this resonates with you and you want to go back and share it, go back and share it. Use this as a resource tool to allow spirit to inspire ideas in you. Take them and run with them. Send them back to your community. So it's not only a great place to continue to learn and grow and expand yourself, but also to gain wisdom and research that you can take back to your own tribes. Yeah. And when we share knowledge like that, it becomes profoundly impactful and powerful. This is a membership community that anyone around the world can join, because all of our workshops happen online. We have also built, many of you guys have experienced the Akashic Academy network. Many of our public offerings, such as the network, draw in a very, very big community, and you can continue to stay in that big community where there's a lot of free insight and value for you. But if you're ready to dive in deeper, dive in as a member. Check out what's going on inside the academy when you show up for weekly workshops that continue to grow and expand you. We also have very specific training for people who want to learn how to read the Akashic Records. They want to learn how that they can create a business doing this. It's not just about learning how to read the records and that becoming your business. I work with Reiki masters. I work with essential oil practitioners. That is medicine when you're putting together these special protocols for people. I work with NLP practitioners who like to understand and know how to use the records to marry with their modalities, because it opens up huge levels of access beyond wherever you show up to the records. That is your jumping off point. The records continues to open and expand for you. Yeah. So there are opportunities for people who want the mentorship training in the Akashic Records, as well as who want to dive into a deep study where they are mentored start to finish in creating their own businesses.
Wow. It's so beautiful. And like whatever people want to grow in, you're giving them the tools, the training, because there's a lot of different modalities of being able to be a light worker, right? Energy healing, Qigong, Reiki, like connecting to the Akashic Records to do readings. There's so many. And I think it's beautiful that there's so many different options depending on what people's natural gifts are, what their modality for living life is, and how it best fits with those too.
And I'm finding we're being called to marry so many of them too. Just within the past several months, I had deep wounding of my life show up. I had to love myself enough to be able to witness this for it to come up. All right. So I got to the own level of our growth where here comes the shitty shit. And it came up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, I don't even know how I'm alive after I walked through all of that guilt and shame and all of these things that I experienced. What do I do? What am I going to do to clear this? And so I went into my records and I asked for protocol. And they married protocol for me, assimilated knowledge based on my background of areas that I've studied and different areas where I have expertise. So they brought in a lot of Qigong and Chinese medicine philosophy. They brought in some tapping, EFT, that's emotional freedom technique, has been a huge release for me. Yep. They brought in the understanding of exactly how Ho'oponopono works. And so it was a marriage of these different understandings and how the energy alchemizes through each one of those modalities that was needed to release where I had the density stuff, which was in my organs. Yeah. That's where that Chinese medicine came in when the records revealed to me that you're holding this density in these places in your organs. So it became a beautiful, very specific protocol that I used to release and move through this incredible emotional trauma that since then, I've seen so many areas where I was subconsciously recreating those patterns for myself that I am not anymore. Damn. Powerful lifting. And I was able to share this protocol with other light workers. Hey, the records helped me with this. I want to see if it helps you too. Let's practice and play. So the records can begin to help us marry together all of the areas where we have experience to come up with something that is useful and healing in this now moment.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I see a ton of attraction for people tuning into the Akashic Academy and network and everything that you got going on. What do you think it is about you as a being and or leader that attracts so many people?
I am a mirror for other people. And I love shining back the potential that other people have. But potential without having to be perfect. I think that I like myself. I think I'm fun. Yeah. I like to show up and feel smart and wise and connected and compassionate to people, but I like to feel silly and irreverent too. I feel like my years in Hollywood, where you just gotta freaking get over yourself and put yourself out there, creates a space for authenticity for people to be their authentic self. And I think this is a huge component to what stopped us from being able to understand all of the amazing things that human beings can do. Truthfully, Chris, I don't think it's the Akashic Records at the end of it that opens up that for people. It's not my access into the Akashic Records that does that. It's the energetic frequency of creating space to be authentic. And as soon as you look at your authentic self and you like your authentic self, that's the spark. And the spark, your consciousness and your journey will begin to open up, whether you use the Akashic Records or whether you use Reiki or whether you are self-taught or whether you do dive into a mentor. What's meant to happen for you will begin to unfold the second you're willing to look at your authentic self and like yourself. And to the best of my ability, I hold that space for people. I don't love every decision I make. I do put that part on myself.
No, you're not 100%. Yes, that was the right decision.
I'm not fully enlightened yet. I have not ascended into rainbow light body, no physical body. Very much so. But I feel like being able to expose ourselves in that way and be and be okay with it. And here's the other thing. Guess what? Not everybody's okay with it. But I still am.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process too, is being able to harness that psychology within yourself where you truly are independent of other people's good and bad opinions of you.
We had a Nancy Luis in the audience said, an awesome teacher and sharer with a huge heart.
Thank you, Miss Nance.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. So for people out there who are stuck in, let's say, not taking responsibility for what they've learned and hearing this information and nudges. What do we have to say to them?
Bend over. I'm going to spank you if you're still not taking responsibility for what's going on. But I'm like, seriously, I got so fired up I didn't hear the question. Sorry. Yeah.
It's just they've received these nudges. They're not taking responsibility. They're not being accountable. They're not acting on it. What do they need to hear?
Oh, that's a good one. You need to hear that it's okay. Because if you are not taking action and you know that you need to be taking action, this is an aspect of your lack of self-love playing out. And there's a part of you that needs to be validated and picked up and loved and hugged and said, dude, it's okay. Mess it up again. Block it. Don't do it again. Don't take action again. That's okay. And once you love that part of yourself enough, she or he is going to feel confident enough to make that choice. And if you're not making that choice yet, there's a reason for it. So that's what I would say. It's okay. And I will thank you if you want to get started. if you think that will help.
I love it. I love this, really bringing the unconditional love to these aspects of ourselves, that we might be resisting, an aspect of ourselves that doesn't like to do work, an aspect of ourselves that just likes to play and not have to deal with responsibilities or whatever, go out and save the world, right? I know that was a big pressure I put on myself. Like that's what I'm here to do, right? And make a big difference, right? Exactly. Superman. And, it came from also a place of trying to cover up that deep down inside I was insecure, I was hurt, I was an afraid little 6-year-old boy who just wanted to matter.
Yeah.
It's powerful. What's your favorite part about having so many awesome human beings on your platform?
I love watching people grow. It's fun because there's a natural growth cycle that we all go through. And once you're brave enough to emerge onto the scene, like I talked about your jumping off point in terms of the records, that's your jumping off point in terms of how you're going to show up and share. Yeah. And I know that so much has happened under the surface just to get people to that point. And I know I love, one of my favorite things, Chris, is watching the first episode of new hosts. And getting a feel, because everybody's nervous their first day when they go on, right? And getting a feel for just their whole process, the beauty of showing up nervous and still rocking it and knowing that the message is only beginning to gain more and more momentum. And 6 months down the road, checking in and watching them again. And then a year down the road, it is so fun. Some of my hosts, 3 ladies, and they were some of my very first students, Rhonda Elliott, Bex Marie, and Teresa Warren. Cameron was coming up in my mind too, because she's another host and she was another one in that collection, but Teresa Warren was the one that I was reaching for. These ladies are so fun. I remember when they had their year anniversary, they went back and watched their first broadcast, and it's so fun to see the growth and the expansion, to see people's businesses flourishing. Teresa Warren has an incredible story of her transformation in her business and what she's been able to accomplish. So seeing my community thriving makes me very happy.
Wow, I love it. I see like being witness. It's like what a treasure and a treat and a beautiful experience just to witness it.
I've been using that term all day today, and I'm so happy that you brought it up again because it's powerful.
Yes,
it is my favorite thing on the planet to witness people stepping into their confidence, and they know it too. They know that they're stepping into their confidence. That's good. I love that.
I want to talk about more of the like management, quote unquote, side of building the Akashic Academy. What do you think has been one of the biggest reasons, like, or ways that you've succeeded with that, or if you have a lesson or a gift in doing the process, growing it?
I'm a damn coach. Seriously, well, business was not intuitive for me at all, Chris. So this is really, really a great question. I needed to learn. There are a lot of things that I needed to learn, and there are structures and formulas that when you do learn them, they make sense, and they'll shorten your gap.
Right.
Like what takes you 6 months to accomplish on your own, you will accomplish in 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's really, really, and recognize that. Remember how we talked about templates, how we talked about that spark. You're creating a little something in the physical world, but it has a much bigger impact.
Yes.
Please do not cheat or shortchange or be non-giving with your business. This is you. This is representing your mission. Do not shortchange yourself when it comes to creating the steps right from the beginning, because it's not just about throwing something out there and seeing what sticks. You can work that way, but when you recognize your power as a creator on the planet, the way that you think, the way that you fine tune your energy to show up in every moment to create these templates. When you realize that you investing in your business is a template for how your clients are going to invest with you later, you create very powerfully and quickly. These are the secrets to what people who create very powerfully, this is how they do it. They're aware of all of the dimensions they're creating in when they're doing it.
So what I heard is like have templates, have processes, think things out before like launching. Also, like how can we deliver the best every single time? Like those are a couple intentions and things that you put in place that made a difference.
Absolutely. And I did what my coach told me. I found the coach that resonated with me, who is my partner now in the Akashic Academy, Coach Nick. And I did what he said. And I followed those. I didn't fight it, even if I felt like, well, I don't know about this. I really gave myself willingly to a process of someone that I trusted. Yeah.
So far, Emily, this is delicious. It's epic. Let's tell people how they could stay connected with you. And then after we do that, we're going to wrap it up with just a final word of encouragement, inspirational message. But first, how do they take those next steps? What are those?
www.theakashicacademy.com. You're going to find everything that you need to know about me to further this relationship.
Yes.
We have amazing free gifts for you on there first, okay? So I want you to feel like Christmas morning when you go to theakashicacademy.com for the first time. There is a free magazine that you can download, an incredible spiritual tool resource. There's also a free class. We talked about our clairsenses here. I give you very specific exercises that you can begin to work each one of those clairsenses, super practical things. Wow. This is a free class that you can download that will upgrade your psychic abilities wherever you are right now. So first of all, go get your free presents and dive in.
Christmas!
Fun stuff. I also do free insight sessions with people. I guide you into your own Akashic Records and teach you how to get insight for yourself. I teach you how to do it, why this is so valuable, and to implant in you the belief that you can actually do this work. So for those of you who are ready to put on your big girl pants and your big boy pants and find out what you can do in the records, get on my schedule for a free call. You're going to find that under the contact button on the menu button on our website. There are also more opportunities to dive into membership. You're going to find everything, what's right for you. The one thing I do want each and every single one of you to do, reach out to me personally. Send me a message on Facebook. All right? I want to talk to you personally. I want to bust your chops. I want to ask you what you learned. Okay? I want to start that personal relationship with you. So find out all the things you want to know about me and everything I offer over there on the website. Get your free gifts. And then say hello to me on private messenger. Okay?
I love it. Emily, you're amazing. Let's hear this word of encouragement, something that someone needs to remember. Give it to them.
Follow your intuition. It is the fastest way to know and recover your authentic self, and it will not steer you wrong.
Amen. Emily, thank you
Yes.
so much. Everyone message her, the Akashic Academy.com. Go contact, schedule a call, see what you can do, and just let her know what your biggest takeaway was. Emily, you're such a powerful light. Looking forward to growing and impacting the world together.
You too. Thank you,
Awesome.
my friend.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon.